Oh yeah. No, I'm still connected pretty tightly with the community. I work with somebody, my managing broker that I work with, she graduated from Columbine. And then all of my friends, everyone's really stayed close to Littleton. I don't really know a lot of people that moved far away from there.
Yeah, yeah. So some of them you haven't seen since, or
Well, yeah, but I mean, like with Facebook, there's always that connection. So like I've caught up in that way.
yeah, I'm sure there's some people that probably don't even want to talk about it or even reminisce
Right.
on it, which is understandable because it's a very tragic thing, you know.
Yeah, and healing is such a choice. So like if you don't feel like healing that day, you shouldn't have to. So talking about it isn't always the best time or best place to do, but best thing to do, but definitely helps me.
Yeah, it helps me as well when I talk about things that traumatized me as well. But
Right.
in my situation, though, my traumas are different, than that. And I don't even want to imagine what some of the people still live with, like the ones that were critically injured to the point where they were paralyzed or wouldn't be 100% like themselves again.
Right. Right. And that's kind of where like I think my healing is still growing in is the guilt part, is still being able to be like, okay, it's okay to have children and your parents get to see your grandchildren and you get to still be, a mom, and it's okay. That's not your fault to be that, and that's really hard for me to get over.
Yeah, it's definitely hard for the ones that lost loved ones as well, especially Dylan and Eric's folks, because I'm sure a lot of people, even the administration of Columbine at the time, I'm pretty sure they all felt that they had let themselves down. That Dylan and Eric's parents probably thought they let their sons down, and the
Right.
administration probably thought that they let the kids down by not looking for this warning sign stuff that were going on.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
It's a survivor's guilt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you have any good memories from Columbine aside from that?
I do. Of course I do. I have memories of friends and dances and on the softball team. So obviously there's games and um, pep rallies, all that kind of stuff. Obviously there were those things that were good prior to the shootings and everything. And um, the good thing is that it's it's like again, the whole bittersweet thing is I do have a community that can identify with my feelings, and that in that knowing that I have that does help things. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of it though was overshadowed by that, especially since you were
Yeah.
in year two.
Yeah. And I mean, there was obviously good stuff. It just, the overshadowing is exactly it.
So where can people find you?
So still in my cute little house in Littleton, but I'm in Littleton, Colorado, and I really am on social media a lot. I have, my real estate business on the side. My husband is a surgical first assistant and also dabbles in real estate, so I'm pretty easy to find. But you can find me on Facebook, Threads, and Instagram. I'm trying to get into Reddit. I don't know a lot about it, but I'm gonna try it, see what I think.
Yeah, you definitely have to be careful on social media too when it comes to, mental health and all that, and even cyberbullying, because I've said many times, social media makes it very easy for people to say and do things that they would never say or do if they were facing the person.
Right. I know. And I mean, it takes a lot of balls, I can say that, to bully somebody, but then to do it where everybody can see you, so
Yeah,
weird. Just do
it's
it
it.
in their face.
Yeah, if you're gonna talk smack to someone, do it to them personally. Don't hide behind the computer. I mean, you shouldn't do
Right.
it either way, but yeah.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
learned that the hard way actually in my senior year about talking smack. When I
Oh
was going
no.
through when I was going through education from elementary school all the way to my senior year, when it came to PE class, they had to limit the amount of games I played because I couldn't stop gloating to the other students whenever my team scored a point or we won.
Oh, so you got in trouble.
I got in trouble. It was, I mean, I'm not proud about it, but I sort of laugh at how ridiculous I was acting at the time. You know,
But you were little, you didn't know. You were
I didn't know
younger.
I was underage, but they had to limit the amount of games just because of that. And then I played flag football in high school for 3 years, from sophomore to senior. Got reprimanded a lot for my gloating. And then, as I remember, in my senior year, it was our very first game, very first play. I scored a touchdown, gloated once again, and then the game went into a pause, and I thought that we were just resetting for the next move, But it stayed on pause for 15 minutes, and all of a sudden, as I was in my position, I saw I saw the backup player meant for me coming onto the field, and I saw the official pointing at me like,
You're done.
not only was I done, but I went up to the official, went up to my coach, and I was being told that I was being given a match penalty. It was the first move of the game and the first game of the season, and
And you're
I was told it was a match penalty, and then I was told the next week that I was gone for the rest of the season.
oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Yeah, I'm not proud of it, but yeah, that told me that over time it just built up, and it was just the
It
first
does.
game. It was just the first game, first move, and they had just had it. They
They
were
weren't
just
gonna
done
put
with
up with
it.
it. That's funny. That's good.
So that's when I learned to not talk smack over games that were just meant
Right.
for fun. Yeah. So that's why we have to be careful with what we say to people, because verbal abuse and, even bullying and smack talk, there's a lot of aspects to bullying, and all that.
Yeah.
And that can lead to the anger that leads to stuff like Columbine.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, do you think that meant that schools should start having mental health classes and sensitivity training and all that just to sort of educate people on this stuff?
Yes. 100%. So my kids they have a program that they have all gone through the school district where it's kind of like social emotional learning. And they pretty much kind of learned how to deal with problems at their levels. And I think it's definitely helpful, but I think that it has to always be taught yearly. I don't think it's something that should be taught every 2 years or anything like that. I think every year social emotional help should be one of the classes that are like mandatory.
I agree. I've ever since me and my business partner started the RNU platform, we've learned a lot of stories from people that have gone through stuff like this or other forms of tragedy. And I personally think that all schools should have mental health, suicide prevention, anti-bullying, and yoga and sensitivity training, and they need to learn how to do that, because when
Yeah,
you get older you realize the harsh realities, that there can be darkness in the world that you weren't aware of when younger. And I think that they should be classes that you have to take before you can graduate.
I think that is a good idea too. And I think, like I said, I think every year with trends changing and social media platforms changing, every year it should be taught, or at least just one class once a semester or something for sure.
Yeah, whether it's a semester, whether it's even a summer school if needed.
Right. Yeah. Anything to help. I agree.
Yeah.
Social emotional is very important.
Yeah, for sure. So this is my final question I have, which is, how can your journey impact the world?
How can my journey impact the world? Oof.
Yeah, and also, what lessons do you want the world to learn from Columbine and what happened?
I think the lessons that I want learned. What was your other question? I'm sorry.
And how can your journey impact the world?
Okay, yeah. I would say that my journey can impact the world in the fact that I'm kind of like a prototype of what happened. I can kind of give direction as to what it's going to look like for them as they, you know, heal on their journey. So for me, I think what the world can take from me is learn the lesson of moving forward. And I think knowing that what to be grateful for and what to fight for is really important as well. So I think that those are two important lessons that the world and myself need to remember.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, do you have any social media sites or any charitable causes you're part of that you want promoted?
Yeah, so the Rebel Project and the Phoenix Rebel 999, those are both really near and dear to my heart, and I do believe in both of them. The Scott family, they also have a foundation that's beautifully made and really is strong throughout the United States. So any of those I would love to highlight.
Definitely. So, everybody, we'd like to thank Lauren for appearing on RNU. Let's have a moment of silence for all the victims at Columbine, starting in 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the families and friends of the victims, along with the parents of Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris. And we hope that the victims are resting in peace and no longer suffering. And we hope that all the survivors are emotionally doing good and moving on and pushing forward the way that Lauren has. We also hope that Dylan and Eric are no longer suffering from whatever traumas they were dealing with that led to the tragedy. And, we hope that the world will learn from this tragedy and continue to learn, and that America will eventually put a stop to all these senseless tragedies. So, everybody, this is Doug Kenny saying so long from RNU.